In Lesson 7, we are going to start importing models in AppLab. So before, the very first thing that you're going to need to do is take the survey that is in the assignment post on Schoology. Also, at the end of Unit 5, if you did not complete the AppLab assignment, that's where you need to go right now, because you're going to have to be familiar with the AppLab in order to be successful with this lesson and the final project of this unit. Your warm-up journal is this: a class is interested in making a book recommendation app for new students. The app will ask several questions, and based on responses, will recommend a book that other people in the class have read. What is a question you think they should ask to help recommend a book? Answer this question in your journal. So far, we've explored how data can be used to create a model. And in this lesson, we will see how you can use the model to create an app that people can use. We are going to help create this book recommender app and learn how to use machine learning models in AppLab. Our question of the day is, how can I create an app using machine learning? The first thing that we're going to do is a survey analysis. And in order to do this, we need to go to Code Studio Lesson 7, Level 1. Let us look at that. Run the app and see what kind of books get recommended based on your answers. What's your favorite animal? How would your friends describe you? Where would you like to spend your time? I'm going to go with outdoors for the beach. Okay. How do you like to spend your time? Okay. An adventure book like Hatchet. All right. Well, I've never read that. But okay. What about if I say indoors? Still gives me that. Okay, wolf. What? Why does it keep literally recommending? Oh, okay, I got a different one. Fantasy book, like Harry Potter. I do love Harry Potter. Okay. Well, you play around with it and see what you get. What design elements did you see in this app? Design elements. Well, the background is yellow. The words are blue. The drop-down boxes are blue. And then you have a box right here that's white and the text is blue. There's a predict button. So put some of those design elements, put them in your journal or on the put some of those design elements on a discussion board post. What coding commands would you expect to see in this app? Well, we have these drop-down boxes. We selected various types. So I would say if this is selected, predict, show this. So if dragon is selected and if mysterious is selected, show Harry Potter. That's kind of what I would think. So the app is missing 2 questions from the survey. What type of sandwich is your favorite? And what kind of day do you like? Why do you think these questions didn't make it into the model? If you said that these questions don't have a very strong relationship in the data or lead to an accurate model, then you would be right. You may hypothesize that this is because the questions didn't seem to be related to books, but we'll never know for sure without seeing the actual data. Someone might be The class considered asking about gender on the survey to help recommend a book, but decided against it. Do you think there is any harm in including a question about gender in the survey? Why or why not? I want you to post your response on the discussion board. Well, actually, you can choose to either put it in your journal or you can choose to put it on the discussion board. In including a question about gender in a survey and also other demographic features like race or age should not be used in machine learning models. Now, whenever you joined code.org, it asked you for your age because of internet privacy laws. Okay, it asked you for your gender and your race for statistical purposes. It's not asking about those for machine learning models. So there is a difference. It wants to know how many, like the average age of students learning to code. They want to be able to measure if their platform is helping to decrease the gap between underrepresented people groups. But none of that is being used for a machine learning model. And if we were going to ask about gender to help recommend a book, then it's possible that we could end up not recommending a book just because someone identifies as a boy, okay? Or just because someone identifies as a girl. So gender, it doesn't have a place when recommending a book. Okay. Anybody can like any book. It doesn't really matter. I have seen, as a reader of Sarah J. Maas and the series A Court of Thorns and Roses, you would see plenty of females, like on Book Talk, obsessed with it. Okay, but guys also like this book. They also like the series. So just because of someone's gender doesn't mean that you would necessarily recommend something because of that. Okay. And even if some of you feel like including gender on a survey may feel innocent, studies have shown that gender bias can creep into recommendation and selection processes in unintended and unexpected ways. For example, a machine learning algorithm designed to screen job candidates in the tech industry was discovered to be biased against women and perpetuating stereotypes in the tech industry. We think about the tech industry being mostly male. Well, if this hiring algorithm is discriminating against women, then yeah, it's going to continue to only focus on the applications of males. So there was a study showing that gender bias was impacting selection for symphonic orchestras, and you can actually read this. It's from Princeton University. So you can Google blind orchestra auditions better for women study finds, and that's because the algorithm was not showing a bias towards genders once it removed the genders and made it a blind audition. And so Princeton, this was done by Princeton University. So you should look into that if you're interested. So what you're going to do now is go to Code Studio. And you are going to import a model. When models are imported into AppLab, a lot of code is pre-generated, and that can feel a little overwhelming. So if you feel nervous about needing to understand everything that has happened after you import a model, think about it this way. You already know a lot about what's happening based on the discussion that we have had. All of the design mode elements are familiar, and the code uses the same on-event blocks that we were already expecting from whenever we did the AppLab lesson in the last unit. So I want you to know that we will uncover what most of the code does as we go throughout the unit, and you don't have to understand every single little piece of it right now. Okay, going to Code Studio Level 3, importing your model. Use the gear to import your model into AppLab. Select Class Book Recommender from the list and press Run. Press the Run button and test the app to verify that it works. So go to AppLab. All right, you're going to select the gear, which is settings, and it shows you right here, okay? Manage AI models, right there. So we only have 2 models right now. We're going to import Class Recommender. So the Class Book Recommender, it's got 120 rows of data, the features and labels. It can predict a book, so the book is the label, and the features are animal, describe, where, spend time, how spend time. Okay, the label, which book you should read, it gives you these options. Okay, let's go ahead and import it. All right, so yeah, this is a lot already showing up right here, and that's okay. Can you identify the line where the button press happens? What would you look for in order to determine where the button press? This is the button, predict. Okay, this button is called Class Book. All right, so on event, Class Book Recommender Predict, click. That's where the button press happens. Can you identify the lines where all of our data is being collected? Well, we said data for animal, get text. Data describe, get text. So when it says get text, whatever has been selected here, it's going to get that data from that place. Okay, can you identify the line where our prediction occurs? Get prediction data, and then it's going to set the text of the prediction box, which is right here, to whatever the value is, which is the actual prediction. Okay, so that is how this is going to work, all right? Continue to the next level, and as you go, update the style of your app using themes and add a welcome screen to the app for when the user first loads the app. And I'm gonna help you through this for this lesson. If you don't need the help, you can absolutely go ahead and go on. If you, I would maybe watch and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But yeah. Okay, let's update our text design elements so they ask a question rather than use the default values. If you don't remember the exact question, you can go back to the model card to view the description for each feature and label. In the app, go into design mode. Design mode is right here. Okay? Update the text of each feature to match the question from the survey. Which animal do you like best? So instead of animal, we're going to click on where it says animal, and for text, we're going to just type that in. Which animal do you like the most? Okay? See how easy that was? Click describe. We're not changing the ID, we're just changing the text. Which word best describes you? Change the text. Where would you prefer to spend your time? Okay, now right here, it kind of went off the screen. So we want to move it. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay, so what do we want to do? We can change the size of the font, make it smaller to where it fits all on one line, or we can move everything down a little bit, okay? How spend time? That's not a good sentence. So let's change it. How would you prefer to spend your time? All right, we lost it again, but instead of making it smaller, I'm just going to drag this down. And we got to drag that down too. Okay. When you are finished, continue to the next level. So what we have done in level 3 is changing these into these questions. So let's go ahead and hit run and then finish. Continue, and let's look at bubble 4. On bubble 4, you will choose a theme to update the design of the app. For now, let's just choose a theme. Later on, you can go back, you can continue to customize your app with design mode. So, in design mode, click design. Click the themes drop down and select a theme. That's going to be right here. Test out different themes until you find one that you like. Okay? You're going to just play around until you find a theme that you like. It can really be any of them. You're just going to decide. Okay? Once you have chosen a theme, hit run, finish, and then continue on to level 5. On level 5, what you're going to do is add a home screen to your app. The instructions for this level may be difficult to keep track of, so I want you to check off each step as you complete it, okay? So, go into design mode. Click the drop down at the top of the app and select new screen. If you need help doing that, click the show me how and it will show you where to go, okay? Set the ID of this screen to welcome screen. And when we have a lowercase letter at the front and then the second word is uppercase, this is called camel case, and it is used commonly in programming languages because spaces are not allowed when we are naming things. And so that's why, so that way it's easy to determine that this is welcome screen instead of like some weird word where everything is lowercase. Okay, so we set the ID. Press the green Make Default button. All right, if we did not press that default button, whenever we hit run, our app home screen is going to be whatever the default screen is. So since this is the welcome screen, we want to make it the default. Drag out a label and type Class Book Recommender. Drag it out. Okay, the text is going to say Class Book Recommender. I'm just going to put it kind of ish in the center. Drag out a label and type a short description of what the app does. Another label. Answer the questions to get a book recommendation. Okay? Click here to see an example of what the welcome screen could look like. So this is what it could look like. I have the classic theme selected, and so one thing that I would need to do is I would maybe want this to be larger. You can change the font size, but then I also want it to be aligned in the center. Okay, and then I would want this also, my description, to also be aligned in the center, and I would want that font size to be a little bit bigger, but then I need to resize this box so that all of that can be seen. Okay, I'm going to close that. Run the program to make sure it works. It should load the welcome screen, but we haven't programmed it to continue to the next screen yet. When you are finished, continue to the next level. So when you hit run, what you should see is the screen that you just made. If you don't see that, then the screen you just made, your welcome screen, is not the default screen. So you need to go back in this video or literally just read the instructions to make sure that you set the screen to the default. So we can't click anything on here because we haven't programmed anything. So hit finish and then move on to bubble 6. So with bubble 6, you will add a button from the home screen to the predict screen and add an event to connect the two screens together. I will be supporting you in reading through the instructions and checking off each piece as you go. You can also click the Show Me How lines in the instructions to see screenshots of what each step will look like. So again, this is what we're going to do. Add a next icon. In design mode, drag out an image element. Scroll down, image. Select or set the ID of this element to next icon. Again, we're using camel case, lowercase n, capital I. Next to the image property, scroll down and choose link. No, sorry, I don't know why I just said that. Click the choose button. All right. In the window that appears, click the Icons tab. So choose Icons and then type in Next. All right, we are going to just pick a button. All of these show Next, so just pick a button, okay? Then we need to switch. So we got it right there. All right, now switch to code mode. Code mode. Drag out an on event block. That's right here. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to click show text, because if you are having an issue with this, I think putting show text is going to make it a little bit easier. So what you would do is drag if you cannot drag, I'm going to show you what to type. And it shows you also on here, on line 3, you're going to make it look pretty similar to that. So on event, and it gives you options, and we said next icon, all right, and then comma, click, it will autofill for you, okay? And then type function correctly, 2 semicolons, open curly bracket, and then press enter. And you need, right here, I have a triangle, and if I hover over this, it says missing semicolon. So I'm just going to put a semicolon right there, and that's going to take care of that. So what we've got now, when the next icon is clicked, what do we want to happen? It tells you right here, set screen. All right, so we have set screen. We have 2 screens. We have the welcome screen, which we're currently on, and screen 1. So select screen 1, put a semicolon at the very end, and run the program and make sure it works. So run, you should be able to click this, and it should take you to screen 1. If that does not happen, scoot the video back a little bit and compare what you have with what I have. All right. Once you know that it does work, click finish, and then click continue. So at this point, you have created a book recommender app. You can choose from these activities right here to continue improving your app. Each level uses the same book recommender that you have already built as a template to add to. So I want you to choose. You can choose to complete as many of these levels as you would like. Each one lets you customize and improve your app. These are all great these are all great tutorials for you to add on to your app, okay? So what you're going to submit to Schoology for this is, because we don't have a guide, an activity guide for this, you are going to write a paragraph summarizing what you did in this lesson, how you chose to customize your app on this level 7, and why you chose that. You're also going to say if you felt lost or confused at any point during this lesson, why you felt that way, or why you didn't feel that way. And then when you ran your app, if you could identify the line where the button press happens, where the data is collected, and the line where our prediction happens, okay? So make sure you read the instructions in Schoology. Once you get done with all of that, we're going to go to the warm-up. Oh, nope. Once you get done with all of that, we're going to go to the wrap-up, and your journal prompt is, what was a moment from today where you felt successful? And then your second question is, what is a question or point of confusion that you still have from this lesson? Our question of the day is, how can I create an app using machine learning? And I want you to also add this to your journal because we are literally summarizing what we did. If you have any questions about what we did in this lesson, please don't hesitate to reach out so that I can help you.